Picture this. An officer is standing in front of you and he holds out his hand and he says 4 simple words. Unlock your phone for me. And what you do in the next 5 seconds, whether you tap that screen, whether you hold it up to your face, whether you say a single word, decides whether a complete stranger gets to scroll through every message you've ever sent, every photo you've ever taken, your emails, your banking app, your location history, the lot. Most people, caught off guard, just unlock it. They think they have to. They think saying no makes them look guilty. And in that one nervous moment, they hand over more of their private life than they'd give to their closest friend. So today, I'm going to tell you exactly what the police in this country can and cannot do with your phone, what they can take, what they can force, and the one thing you should never, ever do when an officer asks you to unlock it. Because the law here is not what most people think, and the difference could not matter more. I'm Oliver Bennett. I'm a criminal defence solicitor here in England and Wales, 15 years of standing next to people in police stations at the worst moment of their lives. And my job on this channel is to hand you, in plain English, the rights that most people only discover when it's already too late. So let's start with what's actually at stake, because I don't think people really let themselves think about it. Your phone is not a phone. It hasn't been a phone for years. It is the single most complete record of your entire life that has ever existed. Every private message, every photo, including the ones that were never meant for anyone else, your bank, your health apps, everyone you know and every word you've said to them, where you were last Tuesday at 9 o'clock at night, down to the street. Hand someone your unlocked phone and you have not handed them a device, you have handed them you. So when an officer asks you to open it, understand the size of what's being asked. And understand this, they are asking in that moment, because very often, asking is the only way they can get in. Here's the thing almost nobody understands, and it's the heart of this whole video. There are 2 completely different things going on when the police and your phone meet, and the law treats them completely differently. The first is them taking the phone, the physical handset. The second is them getting inside it, reading what's on it, and those 2 things are miles apart. The police can, in certain situations, take the physical phone off you, but taking the phone is not the same as getting into the phone. That lump of glass and metal in an evidence bag is almost useless to them if it's locked and they can't open it. The whole game, the entire thing, is about getting it open, and that is where your rights are far, far stronger than you've been led to believe. And before we go further, ask yourself why an officer wants inside your phone in the first place. Very often, it isn't because they already have evidence of anything. It's the opposite. It's a fishing trip. They've stopped you, they're not sure they've got anything, and the fastest way to find something, anything, is to go through the one object you carry that documents your entire existence. A phone search isn't a search for one specific thing, it's a search for everything, all at once, in the hope that something turns up. That's exactly why the law makes it hard for them, and exactly why the polite decline matters so much. You are not hiding a crime by keeping your phone locked. You are refusing to let a stranger go fishing in your private life on the off chance. Those are very different things, and never let anyone, including an officer, make you feel they're the same. Let me put it somewhere real, because this isn't abstract. You get pulled over. Maybe it's a genuine mistake, maybe it's nothing, maybe there's some minor thing about the car. Tempers are a little high, you're flustered, and the officer says, almost casually, just unlock your phone for me a second. In that moment, 99 people out of 100 unlock it, because it feels rude not to, because saying no feels like an admission. And just like that, over a traffic stop that was going nowhere, a stranger is now scrolling your messages, your photos, your apps. It happens every single day in this country, not because the law required it, but because nobody told these people they could calmly say no. That's the whole reason I'm sitting here. So let's do the taking first. Can an officer just seize your phone? In an ordinary stop in the street, where you have not been arrested, the answer is generally no. They cannot simply confiscate your phone because they feel like it. There are specific situations where they can lawfully seize a handset. If you've been arrested, or if they're carrying out a lawful search, and they have genuine reason to believe that phone is evidence of an offence. Those powers are real, and I'm not going to pretend they're not. But notice what's missing from all of it: a power to make you open it. Seizing the phone and unlocking the phone are two different doors, and the officer only has a key to one of them. The other door, the one that actually matters, you're holding the key to, in your head. Because here is the rule that the police would, on the whole, rather you didn't know. In an ordinary encounter, they cannot force you to tell them your passcode. They can ask firmly, they can make it sound like an order, but an officer standing in front of you does not have the power to compel your PIN or your password out of you on the spot. Not on the street, not at the roadside, not in the back of a van. You are under no obligation to type it in, to say it out loud, or to unlock that phone for them. And saying no to that is not obstruction, it is not an offence, it is you exercising a right you actually have. Now, I have to be straight with you, because this channel is about the real law, not a comforting version of it. There is a way the police can force a passcode out of you, but it is a serious, formal, court-backed process, and it is a world away from an officer holding out his hand at the side of the road. It's called a Section 49 notice under an act called RIPA, the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act. And for the police to use it, a senior officer has to apply, and crucially, a judge has to authorise it. It's reserved for serious cases: terrorism, child exploitation, organised crime, serious fraud. If you are properly served with one of those notices and you refuse to give up your passcode, then yes, that refusal is itself a criminal offence, up to 2 years in prison and up to 5 years in the most serious national security or indecent images cases. So I'm not going to tell you the police can never make you open your phone. In the gravest cases, through a judge, they can. But look at the enormous gap between those two things. On one side, a formal notice signed off by a judge in a serious criminal investigation. On the other side, an officer on an ordinary evening saying, "Unlock your phone for me," because you were stopped and he's curious what's on it. The first is the law, the second is a bluff. And the entire trick, the reason so many people hand their whole lives over, is that the second one is dressed up to look like the first. An officer asking you to unlock your phone at the roadside is, the vast majority of the time, hoping you don't know the difference. Now you do. Which brings me to the loophole. Because there is one, and it's the reason I'm making this video, and it's the part I need you to actually remember. Everything I've just told you about your passcode being safe in your head, it comes with a catch, and the catch is your own face, your own thumb. Think about it. Your passcode is a secret. It lives in your mind. Nobody can reach in and pull it out. That's exactly why it takes a judge to compel it. But your face and your fingerprint are not secrets. They are on the outside of your body, in plain view, all the time. And if your phone opens with Face ID or a fingerprint, then the key to your entire life is no longer locked away in your head. It's sitting right there on the front of your skull or on the end of your thumb for anyone to use. A phone held up in front of your face, a thumb taken and pressed onto the sensor, and it's open. In a second. No passcode, no notice, no judge. Just gone. Now, the law around forcing someone's fingerprint or face is still catching up. It's a genuinely developing area. And in a serious case, a court can order your fingerprint through that same formal process it uses for a passcode. But forget the courtroom for a second and think about the real world, the moment you're actually in. There is a vast difference between a judge signing a formal order weeks later and a phone simply being lifted up to your face while you're standing there detained and flustered. One is a legal process with safeguards. The other can happen in the time it takes to blink. Biometrics turn your body into the password, and your body is not something you can keep in your head. So here is the single most useful thing you will hear today. If you want your phone to be genuinely protected, if you want that "they need a judge" rule to actually mean something, then your phone needs to be locked with a passcode, and not just your face or your thumb. And if you're ever in a situation where you think your phone might be taken, there is one move that beats everything, and it takes 2 seconds. Turn it off. Power it down completely. Because of how modern phones work, and this is true of iPhones and of modern Android phones, the moment a phone is switched off and then back on, it goes into a special locked state. And in that state, Face ID does not work. The fingerprint reader does not work. The phone will not open for anything except the passcode being physically typed in. On top of that, in that state, the data itself is properly encrypted, scrambled, genuinely locked down. So a phone that's just been powered off is dramatically harder to get into than one that's been sitting unlocked in your pocket all day. If you take one practical thing from this entire video, take that. If it matters and you've got a moment, turn the phone off. The instant you do, your face stops being a key. Now, I need to give you the exception because I never want you walking away from one of my videos with half the picture. Everything I've told you so far is about an ordinary encounter, a street stop, a traffic stop, an arrest, here on home soil. There is one place where all of it changes completely, and that place is the border, an airport, a port, the Channel terminal. Under something called Schedule 7 of the Terrorism Act, an examining officer at the UK border has powers that an ordinary officer on the street simply does not have. At the border, they can require you to hand over your devices, and they can require you to provide your passwords and PINs, and here's the sting, with no suspicion about you at all. They don't need a reason. And refusing to comply at the border, is itself a criminal offence. So please hear the line clearly. The strong rights I've described are for ordinary encounters within the country. The border is a different world with different rules. And if you're stopped under Schedule 7, that is precisely the moment to stay calm, comply, and speak to a solicitor about it afterwards. Right, let's turn all of this into what you actually say and do, because knowing the law is worthless if you freeze in the moment. So here is your script, the calm, polite, legally sound way through it. An officer asks to see your phone, or asks you to unlock it. Your first question, calm and even, am I under arrest or am I being detained? That single question does a lot of work. It makes the officer tell you the actual legal footing you're on. If you're not under arrest, you can simply and politely say, I don't consent to a search of my phone and I'm not going to unlock it. Say it calmly, not aggressively, not smug, just clearly. Because the other thing that police often rely on is consent. If you tap that phone open and hand it over, in law you have consented, and you have just given away the very protection the law spent all this effort building for you. So don't consent search your own life. Don't do their job for them. If they tell you they're seizing the phone, don't wrestle for it and don't get into a shouting match on the pavement. That helps no one and can land you with a fresh problem. Let the handset go if it comes to that, but keep the passcode where it belongs, with you. Ask them what power they're using to take it and ask for a receipt, a record of what they've taken. The phone being in an evidence bag, locked, with your passcode still private, is a very different situation from you having tapped it open and handed it over. And if there's ever a formal Section 49 notice, that judge-backed process, that is the point where you need a solicitor beside you, because that is the one route where the rules genuinely change and the stakes are real. And that right there, the exact words to say, the difference between a real power and a bluff, when you have to comply and when you absolutely don't, is the reason I put together a short, plain English guide to your rights in any police encounter in England and Wales. It's called the Know Your Rights Handbook, and it lays out, calmly and without the jargon, the things I wish everyone knew before an officer was ever standing in front of them. What the police can ask, what they can force, the phrases that protect you, and the quiet difference between a request and a lawful order. I'm not going to give you a hard sell. If this video has been useful to you, the handbook is the whole thing in your pocket, and the link is sitting in the description whenever you want it. So let me bring this home, because I want it to stick. Your phone is your whole life, and the law protects it far better than most people realise, but only if you know how the protection actually works. Remember the two doors. The police can, in some situations, take the handset, but taking it is not the same as opening it. Remember the passcode rule. In an ordinary encounter, they cannot force your PIN out of you. That takes a judge, a formal notice, and a serious case. Remember the loophole, because it's the one that catches people. Your passcode is safe in your head, but your face and your thumb are on the outside of your body, so if it matters, use a passcode. And if you can, turn the phone off, because the moment it powers down, your face stops being a key. Remember the border is different. Schedule 7, no suspicion needed. Comply and take advice after. And remember the words, am I being detained? and "I don't consent and I'm not unlocking it." Calm, polite, every time. Because here is the truth of it. In that moment, the officer is hoping for one thing: that you'll be flustered, that you'll be eager to look cooperative, and that you'll tap that screen before you've had a chance to think. The one rule that keeps your whole life private is simple. Your passcode is yours. Not your face, not your thumb, your passcode. And it stays yours. If this was useful, do two things for me. Take a look at the pinned comment and the description, where I've left those exact phrases so they're in your pocket before you ever need them. And subscribe, because every week I break down another one of these, in plain English, so that when it's you standing there, you already know your rights better than the person asking you to give them up. I'm Oliver Bennett. Know your rights, because the people who know them are the ones who keep what's theirs. I'll see you in the next one.